Snap too fast. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Crawl Board Game Podcast. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Joey.
Yep.
I'm here.
And I'm Ralph.
Oh, I guess you were waiting for me. That was my bad.
Yes. I thought you were gonna switch.
We had a little technical trouble at the very beginning of this evening because I misplaced some very important cables, but everything's okay now. So yeah, tonight we're going to talk about a couple games, and then I have a surprise for you gentlemen towards the end of the stream. So I'm going to talk about Flashpoint today. Then we're going to talk about Cascadia and a game we can't pronounce, but we're going to do our best.
Zerwaya. We're gonna say like Y is silent here. So
let's start with Cascadia. You ready?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right.
So I got to play a little game called Cascadia recently. It's a 1 to 4 player game. Plays best around like 2 or 3 people, according to Board Game Geek. It should only take 30 to 45 minutes.
Should.
It did tend to go a little bit longer, I think, both times I played it. So in this game, you're trying to create an ecosystem for a certain group of animals, right? So you might have 5 different animals in front of you that all have different needs for a habitat. Something like the bears want to be next to another bear, but they can't be touching any other bears. So you're going to be laying down tiles that represent your habitat, and also tell you where you can place your animals. So on top of that, you're going to be drafting these tiles along with animal tokens that you can then add to your habitat and expand out your little player board, but also be placing animals along the way. So it's similar I always compared it to tiny towns in a way, where the cards may differ for what you're building, and they score differently depending on the building.
Yeah.
And you're trying to just place them in front of you as best as you can to get the most bang for your point buck.
Yeah. And I want to say there's 3 versions of each animal.
I think so, at least.
Yeah, because it's all the same animal, because it's just one set of tokens, but it's at least 3, if not 4. I can't remember. I've only played with A, and you've probably only also played with A.
Yeah,
which is fine. It's a nice thing. But sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. So yeah, like the turns are super quick. Since you're drafting a tile and a token of an animal, turns are super fast. You just kind of make your decision. Additionally, I keep saying these tiles have habitats on them. So they have different terrain types, like plains, mountain, swamp, ocean. It doesn't really matter what the terrain type is necessarily for the animal to go there. Like fish is one of the animals, but you don't have to put a fish in an ocean. You should. Right. It's humane.
You should.
But
as long as the animal matches.
Yeah, as long as the animal is on the tile, you're allowed to place it there. But at the end of the game, depending on how big your contiguous territory is, you also score points for that. 1 per tile. So if you create the biggest ocean out of everybody, you'll score 11 points. If you don't create, you're still going to get points for your biggest terrain, even if it's only 1 or 2 tiles. You're still going to get those little points, but you'll get bonus points if your contiguous terrain is bigger than everybody else's.
Are you saying size matters?
I'm saying yes, exactly. But I really like this game. It's a little puzzle with the terrain in front of you, right? And you're trying to like figure out your puzzle. And if you're really good at the game, you're trying to figure out terrain types and keep an eye on everybody else's terrain so you can get
play aggressively.
Bonus. Yeah. But also it's not stressful, but it's like you do have to think about where you're putting your animal tokens each time, because the patterns are a lot of the patterns include having certain animals touching the same animal, but not more than like 1 or 2 at a time, or even none. So there's at least 3 animals in the game where they don't want to be touching too many of their own type of animal.
Right.
Which I think, it's a cool little puzzle. And, I love that this game is super quick. It's a little bit of drafting, a little bit of, puzzle.
Sounds kind of, I was thinking it sounds like Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, because there's like, you get like the dinosaurs, and they can't, right? You can't be touching with the same ones. Or
Don't be
like
touching them dinosaurs.
Or you can't like mix them around. I guess they have to be in like the same like containment or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's like a puzzle to that too, because you can get like kind of, if you put your dinosaurs in the wrong spot, you can kind of like stuck in there, and you can't like you make use of your limited land that you have.
Don't they like eat each other too if they're like too close?
So just reminded me of that puzzle part of like how to use your land. So
yeah, no, I really like this game. It's cute. It gets you thinking about nature and animals. I feel like there's a lot of games that have been coming out lately that, really key on some cute animals to kind of get your money. So this is definitely.
Are you talking about the game I refuse to play?
What game?
rhymes with Narc Schmova.
Oh. No, I was thinking something like New York Zoo, Barron Park.
New York Zoo's good. Barron Park's decent.
What's the other one that Prandy plays all the time? Trails?
Trails, yeah.
Yeah. So I just think like I'm appreciating the very nature focused theme on games lately.
Yeah.
I'm just noticing it because it's, very in front of my face, but I'm okay with that.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
I will play devil's advocate.
Okay.
So Cascadia was decent. It was good. But what I didn't expect to happen, and this is what kind of took me back on my first playthrough, because of how the game works mechanically, it's very multiplayer solitaire. There wasn't a lot of talking or interacting, and it's understandable. You mentioned you could start to play defensively, but especially it was everyone's like first time playing. Mm-hmm. Everyone was just
our games both times
down on the board there.
Yeah, our game's very quiet.
So
a lot of thinking.
That's my only complaint on the game, if you could even call that a complaint, because that's such a common thing in tons of games. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the artwork's great, the animals are cool, but I liked it. It's a good price. I think I paid $30 or less to get it.
Nice. I mean, it is very
double check. It's very affordable.
Very affordable.
And it's like Ralph said, you can play with non-gamers. Did you say that?
No, but you certainly can. It's very.
So Ralph meant to say
you
can play with. It's easy enough that non-gamers can play, but it's chunky enough that a seasoned gamer would not get like super bored halfway through and be like, "Why am I doing this?"
There's depth to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And there's replay value, like we were saying with the animals. You swap out and they score differently. But we were just playing with the base animals.
Yeah, I think because you mentioned tiny towns. I think maybe I've played with like one or two different cards. Maybe one time I played with one set, but again, because it's a very digestible game, I often find myself playing the recommended starting set because there's new players. Mm-hmm. And when you have, and I think we actually talked about this when we talked about tiny towns way back. When it's time, maybe it's a different game. When it's time to play a game, you're probably not going to reach for that game if it's a group that's a little more experienced and looking for something a little heavier. So, I leave a comment in the chat now or a comment later. Do you actually, these games, these more entry level games, do you actually go back and like play with the extra sets, or do you find yourself only ever playing the starter set?
Yeah. I might, now that we're talking about this, I might start doing that where if I introduce tiny towns to somebody or Cascadia, let's say, I might just not tell them that it's not the starting set and just throw out new animals because that way it's enjoyable. Not that the base set isn't enjoyable, like the base set of cards, but it would be more enjoyable for me because I would see new content, right?
Yeah.
But also enjoyable because it's still a very entry level, digestible sort of game. So
yeah.
Maybe I'll start doing that.
Maybe read them first, just in case.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Then you start and you're like,
much.
Yeah,
it should be okay.
But yeah,
I can't recommend Cascadia enough, especially if you're looking for something that a lot of newcomers can play and pick up and easily understand.
Right.
Absolutely.
Which of course I'm always looking for meetups. That's kind of my bread and butter. Is we have some heavier gamers, but new to midweight gamers is our demographic, if you will.
I've noticed that.
Say that in a bad way.
You're usually the one who's
trying
like
to bring out the
everyone comes.
Gargantuan ones.
Yeah, no, they come for a couple weeks and they're playing easy games, and Joey shows up with the big bag and his own table and a big box of Nemesis, and he's like, "All right, who's ready for
First time here? Get away from my table.
Yeah,
You're not ready. You gotta go up the smaller slopes first."
yeah. I think I've in the past I've referred to you at your table as the honors table. It's the honors class.
I like that.
So
It's all like the level 100 WoW characters are all over there, and
oh, I never played WoW. Is it? I played. I
haven't played it either. I just know people reference that. So
I'm surprised, Joe. You strike me as a WoW player.
Yeah.
what would what makes you say that?
Why would you say such a thing? But I know I played a game. Did you play WoW?
Yeah.
Okay, I played a game called Night Online, which Prandy introduced me to, it was a free RPG, and we're talking, oh man, what year was this? Gonna age myself now. 2007, 2008. Wow. So it wasn't a lot of free to play RPGs at the time. It's still the days of you buying an install disc, but we played that one, and then. So when I started playing, him and a couple of other friends started playing, so you could like XP share.
Yeah.
So you like bring the new guy with you, and I would just like literally make my character sit down and then watch them kill things and just like start leveling up. Did that work in the WoW like that?
I think for a time.
Yeah.
For a time it did. Where somebody higher level can just run you through a dungeon, and you, as long as you're grouped, you just get the XP.
Yeah. Which I don't know if I like that, or now that I'm looking back years later, it's kind of dumb.
I mean, it's nice if you're trying to get a secondary character up to a higher level. That has its benefits, but your first character, yeah, I'm very anti doing that on your first character. You got to experience. You got to earn the privilege to do it the quick way.
Yeah,
exactly.
You got to earn those levels the hard way.
Yeah,
and then play on hardcore mode.
That's right. So I'm glad we talked about my analogy. I thought this would be just a short little analogy, but it turned into a whole talking point.
We got you. Well, we're only 15 minutes in. We're only 10 minutes in, so we're trying to drag Cascadia out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Be careful with my analogies, so we can go off on some other tangents.
Yeah, I need to like have the mute buttons ready. I wish
they're censoring me here.
The one thing, like, so we use, if anyone cares, we use an A10 Pro. Right on an Ethernet cable and stream it right to YouTube. But like Michelle uses OBS for Dice World, RIP Dice World, and so they have the Stream Deck, and she can program it. So like you could program like a panic button where like if Joey starts to go off the rails, they can just hit the button and it'll like cut to commercial break and like cut all the mics out. So it might be easier just to tackle them.
Yeah. But I mean, going back to what you said about dragging out
Joey,
about dragging out Cascadia.
That's a good idea.
I like some of the shorter, newer entry level games, and unfortunately, that means there's not a lot of deep discussion on the quick games.
No, we could talk about we could throw in another lightweight game that you played recently that you like.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to mention really quick. Didn't you say Cascadia was a better Calico?
Yes, and so okay. I think
yeah.
Cascadia, Calico, and there's one more in the series. And at least from reviewers, they say Cascadia is the best of all three, because Calico, I mean, it's a much larger game, but that one can be extremely difficult. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember for the life of me what the third. It's all by the same publisher, so it's kind of cool that they're all doing the same thing.
It's not like Isle of Cats or anything, right?
No, I don't even think Calico's here. That might have been Amanda's copy.
I think it was, yeah.
So, but yes, Cascadia is everyone's favorite. It's as charming artwork. The problem with Calico is it looks cuter than it is, which I definitely agree. There has to be some connection between how brutal a game is to its artwork.
Yeah,
that's why I feel like a lot of people get screwed over in Root, because they see Root and they're like, "Oh, this is adorable," and then they sit down and it's like, no, it's a 4 unique playing the games different ways war game, and then it's like you realize you're in over your head sometimes. I mean, I had trouble learning Root personally, and I consider myself not too bad at learning games. Yeah,
I've only ever played the bird faction, and I kind of like that. As I'm trying to learn the game, that's my constant. Is I know the birds. I might not be able to play them well, but I know them enough to be able to pick up more of the game.
Yeah.
Verdant, is that the third one?
That sounds right.
Because I'm looking at the publishers. I think that's right.
That sounds correct.
It looked cute, so I assumed it was that.
I feel like so now we switch topics. What's another game that looks cute and fun and cuddly and then just bends you over the gaming table?
In difficulty, or it bends you over because you wasted your money on a crap game? Fables.
Oh,
Everdale?
No, Everdale's not bad. Oh, beer's here, guys.
Ooh, yeah.
I have the sour,
Thank you, Michelle.
If you wanted a...
Sure, I'll give it a try.
Oh, Joey's having a beer now. Now I really wish I have the panic button.
You know, I feel bad. Joey's been drinking a lot more lately, and I feel somewhat responsible.
Like you might be a bad influence on him.
No, like Joey needs to make better choices, but also, yeah, you know.
I'm not gonna lie. When Ralph was staying here, I started drinking a little more.
Well, we don't gotta talk about this. We can talk about anything else.
In
like
a fun
games.
way. In a fun way. Games. I meant in a difficulty aspect, not in a bad game aspect.
Okay.
Stuff Fables isn't bad. It's just it's a lot. It's too easy. It was the complaint.
Yeah. When I first heard about that game coming out, I really appreciated like who the target audience was, like to bring younger gamers into like a more RPG style sort of game. You know, I really liked the idea. It sucks that it fell a little flat because it was easy.
Yeah, which actually that reminds me that good example. Oh, it's an RPG similar with the mice where you get
Mice and Mystics.
Mice and Mystics. I think
that
was
game looks amazing,
but it looks cute and cuddly, and then you like try to play with kids, and it's like it's not as simple of
that's not a kids game. It's just like it's themed under some sort of mask of like a fairy tale, right? Because you're mice and you're running away from like birds and cats and all that stuff, like very anthropomorphized, like the Robin Hood we all grew up on. Shout out to Maid Marian.
If you really liked Robin Hood, that show, I'm pretty sure that's one of the gateway furry movies.
I'm pretty sure too.
I'm pretty sure you could ask any furry and they say, yeah, I loved that movie as a kid. You think there's a connection? Oh yeah, I guess there is.
But yeah, I've heard Mice and Mystics can be pretty brutal because it's a cutesy theme, but of course it's a menacing RPG underneath.
Yeah. Nothing else really comes to mind. So Root, Mice and Mystics. That's about it. That's all I can think right now. Leave in the comments. What's a game that you thought was going to be, this game looks like it's, made for a family or kids. And then you sat down and played and you were like, this is a full on blender.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of a word. Anyways, all right. So I think we stretched out Cascadia.
Yeah.
So Cascadia, go pick it up. It's a cute game. It's cheap and great for everybody.
A lot of replayability. Pick it up.
All right. Joe, you ready to talk about this unpronounceable game, or you want me to talk about Flashpoint?
Yeah, I guess we're talking about this thing.
All right, we're going in, boys.
It's not going to be too long because I don't really know much about it, honestly.
Andrew, your Flashpoint presentation better be at least an hour long.
All right,
we're drowning over here.
I can bring that one out. So tell us how you backed a game that you know nothing about
and can't pronounce.
Well, it sounded cool because I couldn't pronounce it.
It sounds exotic,
and it looks cool. I mean, it's like dragons. I like dragons, and then there's
can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm. There's like this one. I guess there's this one piece that's not like a player thing. Let me just grab it real quick. Not destroy anything.
What the hell is that?
This is like, I don't know. It's kind of like a little like mystical.
It looks like you could take somebody out with that.
Yeah. Is that like a pedestal for something?
It could be up to 4 players. So you put I think you put I don't know how to say it. Like
Joey's like an archaeologist right now.
Like the rotation of who goes when, I think goes on here, but I'm not really sure.
Oh, that's cool. So you just turn it and it'll show you.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think so.
Okay, I like that.
So I looked at this and I was like, that looks kind of cool, and I just backed it, and it wasn't something I went really hard into. It was just base copy. That's it. I'm not even gonna think about it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get it anyway.
Base. Oh my god!
For a couple of years, I know.
Joey's base.
No,
wasn't that excited about it. I was just kind of like, it looks kind of cool. I'm just gonna back the base copy. It wasn't that expensive. It was I don't know. It was $50, I think.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
Yeah. No, it was more than that. It's got to be more than that. Maybe it was $80 or something. Yeah, 85. but this was like pre-pandemic, so this looks like it's worth more than that now.
Okay.
I could see this going for like 100 plus now.
You should just sell it.
I mean, yeah.
Sell it off.
I mean, so I was looking at the Kickstarter. It only made 85,000, but they were only asking for 12,000. So it was like it met its goal.
Wow.
But this is a low, not mass assuming game. Didn't make a lot of money.
Think about that though. Sorry to interrupt, but like think about that. So you said it was like 85, something like somewhere in the ballpark.
I believe so.
So it's close to. Well, I'm going to use the computer in front of me and do some quick math. Their goal was 12,000, right? The game is a few bucks under 100, right? So that's like what, 130, 140 copies to get them to.
Yeah, that seems
85
that does seem too low. Like you think they took a dive on their goal? I have heard.
Like, well, no, think of the manufacturing costs. Like going to a manufacturer and be like, hey, I want you to print 140 of something. You're like, is it even worth it to make the die casts that you need for this chunky thing? I mean, that's chunky too.
It definitely doesn't sound like it.
So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, it actually came out to be like 11,900 if you're talking about 140 copies. So
There are
like
600 backers, so.
I guess it'd have to be at least 6. That still seems kind of low.
You can be a backer and just like support for $1.
True.
That's true.
But mathematically, they were only hoping for 140 copies. I guess that's my point. Is there were way more because it made what you said it made.
It is 87,000.
Yeah.
Of 12,000 they needed.
But I don't know, that just blows my mind that you can just print something in that small quantity, right? Like 140 copies if you made just your goal. That's not a lot of copies to be printing and putting together.
No, but I have heard of.
Oh yeah, it was 108, or it was $100 I backed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was because it's in a different currency that I got confused.
You're always in a different currency.
Yeah.
I think that's pound. Is that pounds?
If you ever want to stump Joey, just ask him to convert something on Kickstarter to USD, and for some reason his phone doesn't show him in USD anymore.
I never know.
Eventually,
it's a Kickstarter problem, not a you problem, Joe. I want you to know that.
Oh, okay, it could be a me problem if I'm like, 500 Kaplarpaflorps. All right, I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna pay it.
Hopefully, PayPal knows how to convert it.
Holy crap!
wasn't Kickstarter? Kickstarter was trying to do something with a blockchain that was for like order fulfillment, or are they going to start their own crypto coin?
No, it wasn't
crypto with a
coin.
K.
I think it's more transactional because with a blockchain you should be able to make like unique transactions and keep an audit trail of it. And I think maybe that was more of the sense.
It was something to do with that, and it's just corporate suits like hearing buzzwords and be like, we should get in on that because that's the thing, and like
but they were also talking about making their platform more accessible and more customizable to the people they serve, like not just being Kickstarter, a company that does crowdfunding, but like taking a step back to make an accessible platform where people can do their own crowdfunding. It's like one layer further back than what they're doing now. So that confused me when I read it, and I was like, more power to them. If they think they got something, that's great. But it confused me reading it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is so basically what this is, is it's an RPG, and you there's myths, Nordic myths, I think is based off of, and there's gods, and you're like a hero, and you basically like any standard RPG. There's stats. There's like strength and agility and like willpower, which are completely different terms in this game, but it's the same sort of thing. I think it's will and I don't know, whatever. It has all those stats, and then you equip your character. And I think one thing I learned briefly was that like all your equipment that you start with has like lore to it, which is kind of cool. And then there's quests based on the lore of like your axe, and like
that's cool.
And then you do missions based on like the lore of your axe or your body armor or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's what I looked at, and that's pretty cool. And then there's like a stat checker, and there's dice. And it looks kind of like Destiny's, where you put, you have the number.
I'm all Destiny's out,
It has
dude.
that row at the bottom of stats, right? And you have the dice associated with it. So I'm pretty sure you have to roll the dice and get, a certain area on on your little ping there.
Yeah.
I also see here that this had a D&D version of it that was also on Kickstarter that funded.
Oh.
Didn't do as good.
But just like
17,000.
a 5th edition reskin
edition.
kind of thing.
Like a supplement for the lore? Or?
Role-playing game for 5th edition set in dark Slavic fantasy world called Zerwia.
Yeah. Yeah, people will just take 5e and then they'll, put their own theme on it and sell it, because you can legally do that, because as long as you're sticking to what's covered in the SRD, which is the source. Oh, I tried to use an acronym.
Uh-oh.
Source rule data or something. Or else can I check on the internet? There's a set of stuff that.
System reference document?
That sounds good.
Okay.
System reference document. So there's some generic system stuff that is free for anyone to use, because Wizards has put that out. Obviously you can't use like the locations and settings and like, specific things, but
just game mechanics, right?
Right. And a lot of times people will just like, I have one called Espergenesis, which was made right here locally by the guys over at the Adventure Game Store. And it's like a sci-fi themed thing. So a lot of it's reminiscent of 5th edition, but there's reading through the classes. I haven't played it because, I'm a board gamer. I just collect RPGs and never play them. There is they added some rules to like make certain things work, like grenades, or like how does rapid fire on a gun work? How does the reloading mechanics work? And it's all based off of other things you would have seen. Yeah. So, for example, a rapid fire shot would be the enemy would make a save, similar to like a fireball spell or something, and then they're only taking damage depending on how good or how bad their save was, stuff like that. But there's tons of 5th edition stuff. Which I think is good, because like, I don't know if you've ever been in a dedicated RPG group, but it's hard to try to convince some people to learn a whole new system, because they'll be like, why would I learn a new system? I already know how to play 5th edition. I want to fill my head with stuff like that, especially if they're mainly RPG players. They're a different crowd.
Yeah.
They're not like us board gamers. There's a lot of crossover, but exclusively RPG players are, they're their own crew. But
But we're gonna fill our heads with the Return to Dark Tower RPG system pretty soon.
That's right. We're gonna risk our mental fortitude to learn that, possibly unlearn D&D stuff in the process.
Yeah.
But for the good of Dark Tower. And then Joey will finally get to play a pen and paper RPG that maybe he'll like, because it is seem like it's going to be a little on kind of board gamey more than it is straight up tabletop.
That.
Yeah.
So and we'll stream it. That's content. Everything is content. I got some games in the mail today. Made a TikTok video. It's content.
Nice.
But go on, Joey.
Yeah, so here's those boards I was talking about. So, yep, they look like this. That's why I said it looked kind of like Destiny's, where you have all the you have the 3 skills. Oh, I can't even 3 skills, and then they're color coded. This one at least.
That actually kind of reminds me of the Bloodborne thing, because when you get the 3 tokens and you're moving them up.
Oh yeah. When you said Destiny's, I was in my head. I was thinking the video game Destiny.
Yeah.
The Bungie game. We watched that video.
That's right.
The YouTube controversy. But looks pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
What are the rules like? You played it before?
Nope.
But like, it's similar to
barely
Destiny's.
opened the box up.
Similar to
the
Destiny's.
stats.
Okay, let me ask you this: is it story driven, or is it like
Story-driven.
okay, it's story driven, not like dungeon crawl driven?
It might be like that. The only thing I gathered so far is that you have like these missions that are attached to your armor and stuff that you start with, and there's a whole lot of slotting things into this would be all items slotted into here, and then this would be your character, and then this would be your stats, and then there's something going on up here that I don't know, and there's like wound tokens or something you put on here, so I guess you can get wounded and lose some stats or something.
Sounds pretty standard dungeon crawl in a box.
Yeah. And
I hear Awaken Realms is making 4 boards thick, not just 2 boards.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
What was that they?
Castles of Burgundy.
Oh,
that's right.
That's
We talked
right.
about that.
A game that has no business being upgraded that hard.
Yeah.
Well, Well, when you ask for Awaken Realms, that's what you're gonna get.
Joey's like, well, they're artists, so they know better
They've
than
done
us.
some amazing things. Sometimes I back their stuff. I don't even care about the game. I just like all the crazy upgrades to the unnecessary upgrades that it comes with.
I just imagine like their R&D department is just like, wait, I had this crazy idea. He just starts gluing more cardboard on top. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? No way, he's not going to glue. He's gluing another one. He's going for a fourth
Now
one.
sun drop it and sell it.
Now sun drop it and sell it. I love that. That should go on a t-shirt. Sun drop it and sell it.
Drop it and sell it.
All right, coming soon to boardgamergifts.com. Speaking of boardgamergifts.com, check the merch.
Oh, yeah.
Check the merch. Oh, I gotta stand up here.
Team No Sleeves, baby.
Team No Sleeves. Joey. Oh wait, Joey's on Team Sleeves. Sorry you had to see it like this,
Yeah.
Joey. I showed you the video I made.
Did you?
I guess it wasn't that
I'm sure
impressive.
he would have. I think he would have sent it out in our little group chat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I might have seen it.
But if you do go on to boardgamergifts.com and buy one, all proceeds of these shirts are going to the Broward County Sea Turtle Foundation. So it's going to a good cause. So, buy one for yourself if you're Team No Sleeves, buy one for a friend that's Team No Sleeves, or buy one for yourself if you're Team Sleeves and wear it ironically.
Yeah.
So-
Or if you just love sea turtles,
Yeah.
help them out.
I think I need to cut the sleeves off of this though.
Do you sell like a tank top version? I feel
We
like
do
that's-
sell a tank top version, but I'm a little too thick of a boy to pull off
understandable.
the tank. So, but I look good in the sleeveless.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch that video on our TikTok page, I do pretty.
You live
I
in
do,
Yeah.
Florida. You can get away with it.
Yeah.
It was a sexual awakening filming that. I'll promise you.
Is it because I cornered you at one point?
Yeah.
while you were filming?
I thought you were just gonna take me and throw me up against a wall or something. Like, geez.
Team No Pants.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
I'm back to the game, by the
way. This guy.
So, anyways,
I don't know how to.
I found this in the box.
Yeah, it's $100. No.
You know what, Joey? Maybe next time you get a game that you're not going to play, just don't open it yet and we'll unbox it on the podcast.
Ooh.
That way we don't have to remember how it works or how to pronounce the name.
You could have still did that. I don't remember what I looked at when I opened in the first thought.
No. People like to see the packaging come off. They like the ASMR of the Sorry.
That actually brings me to the point about the putting it in the box. There's no organization in here at all except for the miniatures, and like the cards have like a little like foam thing to
I
keep
see
it
that.
in.
That seems
Everything
decent.
else,
Yeah.
Well, this is how peasants buy board games, Joey.
but
when we're buying normal
this-
production copies.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't like the bagged and just thrown in here like it's an afterthought.
yeah, it seems fine, but like I can see in that box, there's still unpunched tokens in there. So it's they don't have a home. It's just you got to bag them and throw them in there.
I was about to say
There's a lot of empty
I was about to
space
say
in
you
that
lucky
box.
you even got bags, but good point. If there's nothing for the tokens, then
Yeah.
oh boy.
These are just like the more 3D tokens, and then there's even more like 2D tokens, and then I gotta punch out and put in plastic bags. So you have all these freaking plastic bags in here
Yep.
with the miniature thing. This is I pulled this out. This just looks like a help card for like a hero turn,
Joey's like help.
and then this is like what you can do in the regions. There's a lot of text there.
Oh my god.
So this might be like a very like lore driven RPG, I suppose. I guess you can do a ritual. I don't know.
It really does remind me a lot of Destiny's. So
Yeah.
could
The
be
artwork's
cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it. Very macho looking man on the side of the box, just staring me down with his little beady white eyes and
Yep.
massive muscles. His head looks so tiny compared to his muscles. Mm-hmm. There's definitely I'm glad modern artwork is becoming a lot more inclusive and toned down. But look at the original cover of Hero Quest.
Yeah.
It's not an appropriate artwork, but it's kind of cool though, right? There's something about it, something about that old oil painting style, because it was actually hand oil painted. They didn't have computers back then doing, with your flash art and your emojis. We had to draw and paint it. I say was born in the late 80s, so they had to draw and paint it. I also, while I'm on this tangent, I love.
You said your content was thin, Joey. We gotta pad it out.
I got you, Joey.
I'm fine with that. I was grabbing something.
I love old 80s, late 70s, early 80s RPG artwork where it's kind of like a pen drawing. Like there's no color, and so everything there's hardly any shading. It's just everything's done in a bold sketch format. And there's 2 games that I really want to get. They're not on my priority list, but it's Escape the Dark Dungeon and Escape the Space Station or something. They're like little dice rolling games, I think, but in both games the artwork harkens back to that old late 70s, early 80s monotone, just very hand drawn looking kind of artwork. And I kind of want to get them just for that. Someone told me the game was pretty decent, at least the Space Station one. But that artwork's so cool.
Yeah.
If I ever made a game, I might make a game with that artwork. Actually, I take that back. I would make a game with no artwork because let somebody else decide that. That's the smart way to do it.
You should try and track down the artist, see if they have any like renderings or something, and then just hang it up as artwork. Like I mean, obviously you want the artwork that's in the game already, and it'd probably be cheaper. But if you like it that much, sometimes artists have prints and stuff that they sell. Or
That's true.
Could be cool on this wall over here.
We say track them down. I have another RPG book that I never play, Dungeon Crawl Classics, which is it's a more modern RPG, but in the spirit of old 1st, 2nd edition D&D.
You would think it'd be classic.
Yeah, but all the artwork's done in that old style, and a lot of the artwork done, they hired old artists that used to be TSR D&D artists. Cool. They actually were able to get a hold of them, and they were still working artists, so they were able to get some. So essentially, it's legit classic D&D art because it's hiring the same artist of the era. It's like old Magic cards too.
Old
like new Magic. There's
good.
some beautiful new Magic cards out there, but sometimes the old weird ones, they just they look back at you.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
So
also, speaking of art,
that's a segue.
These miniatures look pretty good if you want to actually feel it.
Do you want to touch my miniature?
They're jagged. These have got some crevices.
This is something that when we're all extinct by our own hand, and aliens come and they're doing an archaeological dig, they'll find this and be like, "What is this ceremonial candle holder?" And they'll they won't be able to read the rule book, so they're gonna have to reverse engineer all our board games.
Yeah,
if they survive.
You know what, that guy? I'm looking at him. The more I look at him, the guy with the skull staff, it kind of reminds me of Khonshu from Moon Knight.
Yeah,
because he looks like he has some sort of long nose, bird mask looking thing, and I don't know. The skulls are just metal as fuck.
It is pretty metal. This is a very very old school D&D kind of miniature.
Oh, maybe this is different kinds of elements.
Was it Gloomhaven now?
Oh my god, it's the 5th element.
Each one, maybe.
Love is the 5th element.
I'm guessing I'm spitballing here.
Spitballing.
Well, dude.
But this seems I don't know what kind of plastic this is.
It's like the 4
seems
horsemen
different
of the
than other
apocalypse.
miniatures I've held.
It is more like a plasticky plastic. I know what you're saying. Some miniatures are kind of a rubbery plastic almost.
Yeah.
This is more it's almost like a plastic you would if you were casting your own plastic. That's kind of what you'd be working in.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Or maybe more of a, when you pick up something from the 60s that has plastic parts and it's that chunky heavy plastic. It's almost like that.
Some of the bottom, it's
yeah,
I don't know, glossy and then not glossy. It's kind of
That's probably from coming out of the mold.
Yeah.
Almost some parts are reinforced and others are something else, That's pretty cool.
I do like the chunkiness of them though. I'll give them that much.
Yeah.
The components are pretty good too. So the other components, I mean, these are just, I don't feel like these needed to be this tall going vertically when they
yeah, it's correct, Joey. The length does not matter.
But those are deep sockets on the player boards though.
No, they're not.
Yeah, those stand pretty
not.
proud.
Kind of unnecessary, I feel like.
Yeah. Show the viewer.
This is easier. This is easier to grab.
Yeah, it's
it doesn't help that the
Maybe
bookshelf
it's
behind it is black.
I tried
us a little bit.
I tried to turn Joey's light. I'm a good lighting. You're kind of bright. Joey, usually Joey's glowing, and today maybe I gotta adjust the camera.
There you go. It's white.
There you go.
Yeah, it is pretty
Easier
tall.
to see color.
It is pretty tall. I give you that.
It's kind of yeah.
Well, Joe, if you ever actually play it, let us know how it goes.
All right, get back to you in a couple years.
Yeah, we're all gonna get to a point where we're like, we're just gonna buy so many games, and that's like, when are you gonna play these? When I retire.
Yeah.
If I retire, if there's a world to retire in.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the plight of a board gamer, right? You buy games hoping that you'll play them. Eventually, you forget about them, but you still want to play them in the back of your mind. But
yeah, in the end, it's like, everybody works to a degree. It's your money. Even if you buy it, punch it, throw it back on the shelf, and it made you happy that you bought it, then
you gotta punch it. You gotta punch it.
I disagree with that. But if it makes you happy, go ahead and do it, you psycho.
Yeah, I think Team Punch It doesn't have a nice enough ring.
We should start a new TikTok ward.
Yeah,
team pre-punch, team wait. But
Team Wrap It or Don't. I don't know. That's different TikTok.
That's a different TikTok. I forgot what I was going to say.
Joey, have you expressed all you want to express about this game? Because I feel like we're not giving you the options.
Well, there's not a lot of meat on this bone. All right, so if you could throw more of those scraps at me, I'll be fine.
I think we're at we got another 20 minutes through without.
I mean, I can slight segue. So today, thankfully, Andrew reminded me about a little game called Blood on the Clock Tower.
Oh yeah, talk about this. That's a Kickstarter game.
Yeah, it was on my radar long time ago when Shut Up and Sit Down did the review of it, which
was a prototype copy at the time.
Yeah, which I didn't realize because it looked pretty legit. Like maybe it was like an advanced prototype where they actually, got like a factory demo of what the product would be. But so Andrew reminded me about this game, and we made the decision as Team No Sleeves that we got it, and I'm so excited for this. Sparked from Andrew by the No Pun Included video that just came out a couple days ago.
Yes.
Go watch it if you haven't.
Yes.
It's an hour long, but it's such a good like micro documentary of Mafia and Werewolf, and then this game's like a review of this game.
Yeah, no, they're really up in their game ever since if you don't know, No Pun Included, we're saying NPI, but it's called No Pun Included. It's a YouTube channel. I think they're from Lithuania, but they also live in the UK.
I think they live in the UK, but Efka was from Lithuania, and then they moved to...
Yeah, Efka's the main guy with his wife, Elaine. And they do board game reviews. They do a lot of Kickstarter reviews, which, Joey, don't watch those because they pretty much dunk on every Kickstarter.
Fields included.
But it's a great channel, and it's in the style, if you like channels like Shut Up and Sit Down, it's more of that where it's more than just a review. It's like half review, half entertaining. Like some channels you watch and it's just like they're just boom, 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 spitting the facts. But this is like, if I always say, like, if you like shows like Top Gear, like that kind of explanation and humor and stuff, you'll love both those channels. But I was super impressed with the hour-long video and this little history lesson because I went on that video game historian kick briefly. And so it was really interesting learning about both, Mafia and Werewolf, and then talking to the creator of Two Rooms and a Boom, who I didn't know was a freaking professor of psychology. And then talking about like the pitfalls and dangers even of social deduction games in general, because whether you like it or not, and they can do a better job explaining this, a lot of these social deduction games, they're very, very close, if not some ways copying all those old social experiments back in the day when, the ethics committees didn't really, have a lot of control over them in the, I guess, 60s and 70s. When you could kind of basically torture college kids in the name of science and psychology.
They call it shock therapy.
That was probably around the same time. I don't know how. This would be a good question for Prandy, because Prandy actually majored in psychology, so he learned. He was actually the one who told me. I
did too.
You did too?
Really? Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So you're familiar with the
in psychology.
the experiment where they made one set of kids the guards and the other set the prisoners, and then how
Yes, I forget the name of the experiment, but
yeah.
It'll come to me after I leave.
Long story short, basically how your role can influence your behavior more than your natural behavior or something like that.
Yeah, titles can go to your head.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yep.
But
yeah, I mean, so you were mentioning about Two Rooms in a Boom and how he is a professor of psychology. Does it make you want to play Two Rooms in a Boom, like, or appreciate the level that went into designing a game like that, especially with his background?
Maybe we can get a big game going at SuperCon.
I mean, me and Tom are down. Definitely. We've got 2 copies between me and Tom. Yeah, you don't have a copy, right?
I do not.
So. Okay.
No, because you guys have copies, so I haven't needed to buy one. Because if I buy a copy, then I also have to learn the rules.
Yeah.
But I will learn the rules for Blood on the Clock Tower.
Yeah. I'm looking for. The only thing that intimidates me about that is I know that there is a story element that you can go off of. But I think you could wing it if you wanted to get into like the custom stuff where you include your own roles for the good, the bad, the outsiders, stuff like that. And I know you're way better at that than I am.
I just also, because even in that video, that no pun included video, as the moderator, it's a lot of games where there is moderators, the person who owns the game and knows the game the most gets stuck doing it. Mm-hmm. But he also mentioned how there's some people who get the most enjoyment out of that. And that's me. I get the most enjoyment out of hosting and entertaining. So
yeah,
I would prefer to do that over actually playing it. Yeah. And I was telling Ralph too, we should get it because it's a couple months ago we did like a murder mystery party thing. Mm-hmm. And it was okay. But like this could also easily like be the murder mystery dinner party game.
Yeah.
And it says it maxes out at 2 hours. It was like 30 to 120 minutes based on, just because you're trying to kill the demon. So like somebody gets lucky, I guess you can shut it down pretty quick.
Yeah.
But it's still, it's long enough to that, playing twice could be like a whole, evening party of like get together with some friends, make some food, have some drinks, play around, take a break, and then play a second round. And then also that'd be good because then everyone's like, no one's going to know what they're doing the first time around. So they'll get a chance to kind of redeem themselves. And I loved what they added, the designers, which I can't remember the publisher right now. He's talking about there's a special set of roles. It's an expansion that it's designed to replace some of the roles with teamed roles. Or some of them are for teamed roles. So basically that takes care of the problem of, let's say, like a married couple who doesn't like to interact and lie like that to each other. It can supplement out a role that will cater to that player.
Yeah.
The other example he used, which is pretty interesting, like if you had a deaf player and they needed somebody to help, sign, they could be guaranteed that, it says that you two are allies and it's like you can trust what you two are saying to each other because the game's designed like that.
Yeah. Let me take a quick detour because I realized I haven't actually told what the game was about. We only compared it to like Mafia and Werewolf.
We're just assuming everybody knows what this game is.
I did the thing where I just assume people know. So this game is a social deduction game, right? So everybody gets a secret role that only you know. As Andrew was saying, there's a moderator of the game, so they keep track of who is what role, and they kind of help you progress the story of how everything is unfolding. So there's two sort of sides. There's the good guys and the bad guys. There will be bad guys who are actively trying to harm you, sabotage you, and then there will be minions of those bad guys also trying to sabotage you or more so aid the bad guys.
Yeah.
And with everybody's role, it's a unique role, which I really like, as opposed to like something like Werewolf or Mafia, where if you're just a townsfolk or if you're just a regular person in Mafia, you don't really have much to do except participate in conversation, right? So I love that everybody gets a unique role, and with that role comes a unique power that activates at night, right? So everybody is hiding their identity, trying to kind of suss out who's on their team and who this demon person is, right? And all the while, the moderator is serving as sort of a game balancer, right?
Almost like a dungeon master.
Yeah. But they can, from what I remember, they can choose to give information to people at their discretion. So if it seems very one-sided of, the good guys are just really crushing it, running away with it, the moderator can choose to help out the losing side, the bad guy side, right?
Yeah.
Which I love. So like they're keeping track, they're doing player powers like, at nighttime. So it's a very cool idea to me. Like I love social deduction games. I'm terrible at them. I say this all the time. But I want to quickly go through that before.
I don't know. You were pretty good at the murder mystery party, concealing your identity.
My character just slept with everybody. I mean, I guess that's good, but
that's what everyone's. Ralph could never pull it off. So
and it was funny because my character just casually got away with a completely different murder that nobody cared about.
And was never resolved.
Yeah.
He was never brought to justice.
Yeah. I thought that was hilarious. Oh my God. Social deduction game that, like Andrew was saying, like could be run like over a dinner party or, and the really cool thing is when you're knocked out, a lot of these games suffer from, you're knocked out, you kind of just have to sit there. You can't really do anything. With this, you still participate. You still are active in conversation and you get one extra vote after you die.
One ghost vote.
Yeah. So that's the big part is that I'm excited for is, you get that ghost vote, but like it keeps you engaged, right?
I imagine there's also characters that get better when they're a ghost.
Probably.
And probably want to die.
Yeah.
So
probably. So I'm excited. I mean, for what you get in the box, it's probably it's a little pricey. The game runs $140 something. But what you get in the box, like there's a lot of stuff. There's like multiple stories to help you kind of go through the motions, to guide you through telling the story. I'm excited.
Yeah. Does it come with those expansions that I was aforementioning?
Yep.
Yeah.
It all comes. So that makes it even more worth it because it comes with extra roles. There's a free customizable, like you can include whatever roles you want and come up with your own scenario, but then you're stuck kind of coming up with your own story as well of which I think the stories that it comes with are probably great segues to building your own. Like we talked about last podcast about preset adventures that come with RPGs sometimes. Yeah. So I'm excited.
I'm excited too, especially because also it'll be a dinner party.
Yeah.
But in a dinner party setting, the other expansion, it has roles for people who either can't commit to being there the whole time, which we all have the friends that are going to show up late or they got to leave early, or if it sets it up nicely that if you want to play this, big long 2-hour game, it lets somebody who's unsure of themselves be assured that if they decide to bow out and they're just not feeling it, they're not going to screw up the game and have to start over, which I think is like, I think that's what sells me the hardest is like, it seems like some really brilliant game design that goes into it.
Yeah. It's, you can try something at minimal to no risk. And I think that's a lot of, we'll see people at the meetup, right? They'll walk by maybe me and Joey playing Nemesis, big table game, sprawling components, huge, very rules intensive, and they'll be interested, but they're apprehensive because they're like, do I want to commit for X number of hours or just keep it light?
I think it's usually all the hours.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've played one game of Nemesis the whole entire time of a meetup, but like, I love being able to, no commitment. You can just bow out if you want. I love that.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. And once we have our little dinner party with it, we'll shout out a review for it and see how it went.
I want to play with Joey. Joey's a stone cold killer. We've been playing Veiled Fates a lot with him. And man, he just seems so innocent. And then at the last second, he fucking backstabs you.
That son of a bitch.
It almost feels like your whole personality has been designed to
manipulate people,
to have the upper hand. Like you knew once, like one day I'm going to play a game where I have to lie, so I'm going to be very, very straightforward. Yeah,
Mr. Bachelor's in Psychology over here, just mind fucking us into the ground in these games.
I didn't even think about that. He's literally been trained to manipulate us.
Trying to think 20 moves ahead. Sometimes it screws me up.
Yeah, his job is to literally get like people wigged out on drugs to like listen to him. Imagine what he could do to a sober person.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's easier to talk to people about drugs. They really are already like kind of jailed in their mind there.
Yeah. Jeez. Anyways, all right. I think we're pretty padded on time now. We're almost to the hour mark.
Yeah. So you want to segue us into
Flashpoint?
Yeah.
So I've been playing a lot of Flashpoint lately. I don't know if I mentioned this on another episode. Me and Michelle joined the Envoy program. We still need to get certified in a game, and they'll send you games, or you can use your own games. I want to use some of my own games. I actually have a bunch that are on the list. And when I saw Flashpoint on there, I'm like, I remember Flashpoint being pretty good. And I forgot how good Flashpoint was.
It's pretty good.
So Flashpoint is a cooperative game where you all assume the role of firefighters, and you're trying to save X amount of victims. In the normal game, you need to save 7 out of the 10 victims, or if more than 3 die, or the building collapses, the game ends. If you like games like Pandemic or Forbidden Island, where it's you versus the board and you're all working together with unique powers, you'll love this game. And I think it's one of the better games that handles this, because like Pandemic and Forbidden Island's fun. Mm-hmm. This one just feels like it's a lot more of a living thing, the way the fire mechanics work. Mm-hmm. So essentially you're going to get assigned a fireman with a special power. There's mechanics to populate the board with initial explosions to set that building on fire. Explosions do damage to the walls, like I mentioned, and there's little cubes that go out on the board. A lot of little components going on. Mm-hmm. And then you just go. And like I said, you take your turn. You have different actions: put out fires, chop through walls, use whatever your special power is. And you're just going around getting to these question mark tokens and revealing them, which could be a survivor or could be a false alarm, which is pretty cool.
Could be a puppy.
Could be a puppy.
You gotta save the puppy.
Most people will say, if they have a choice between one of the pets or the people, they will go for the pets 85% of the time. But it's cool how basically you have 15 tokens and there's 10 actual victims and 5 false alarms. And it's cool because then there's a lot of risk management, especially because they're randomly spawning in. And you might be in a situation where they're way back in the house and like literally everything's on fire. Mm-hmm. And then you got to figure out, are we going to cut our losses, or are we going to somebody got to get in there. And it's great. It's a lot of fun. It actually falls under with a lot we've been talking about tonight. It falls under a game that can be run for a family, all the way up to the most, experienced board gamers, because the base game comes with 2 modes. There's family mode and there's veteran mode. So family mode is like a real tamed version of the game. Nobody gets any unique powers. Everyone has the same amount of powers and action points. Some of the ways the people spawn in is a little different. Where they spawn in, they actually will remove the fire they spawn in on. But it's actually it's pretty easy to teach people. And I successfully taught Michelle's parents this game, and they got it immediately, which I was like a little blown away. Like, wow, you actually understand this one. I'm not trying to re-explain every turn. But from there, once you learn the family version, you go into veteran mode, and then veteran mode has 3 levels of difficulty. They introduce the classes. They introduce a fire truck, which is a lot of fun.
Super fun.
To be the deck gunner and shoot into the building. It's very exciting. Mm-hmm. And then there's expansions that even further the content with new roles, new buildings, new hazards to have to overcome. And it's a really, really, really fun game. And I'm glad I randomly decided to pick it up again, because I've been teaching a lot. I'm actually having trouble teaching it because I'm still trying, because I have to test out on it essentially to somebody. I'm trying to get the perfect flow, and I keep missing one rule at the very end. I'll go through my thing thinking, all right, I taught him. That was perfect. And then you go, one more thing I forgot to mention of something I said 5 minutes ago. There's also this, Yeah. Another unique thing about this game, which I feel like more co-op disaster games should adopt, you can bank action points. Yeah. Which is pretty dope, because
within reason though. Like it won't let you bank some of your special action points, which is fair. That's absolutely fair.
Right, yeah. But you can bank up to 4 action points. Because with games like this where you're trying to keep a leg up on an ever-changing board state, like in Pandemic, in Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert, Robinson Crusoe, sometimes you get to a point where you're like, I don't know what to do because, if I do this, I put myself in danger for this, or if I do this, put myself in danger for this thing. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool to, be able to hold back a little bit with the intention of like really like plowing through a future turn.
Yeah.
Because it's, again, in Flashpoint, the way the fire spawns in, it's like, you play with new people and it's like, well, where should I stand? I'm like, you're at risk pretty much wherever you stand, mm-hmm. In some cases. So it's like, there is no safe place.
Yeah.
So sometimes the safest place is right where you are, not to move any further.
Yeah. It is nice to not have that conversation of like, okay, well, I guess I can waste this turn to be set up for next turn. Like, it's nice to not have that conversation because you just bank your action points and then have an amazing next turn.
Yep.
I do have some complaints.
Ooh, let's hear it.
I do like the game. So first and foremost, I had a lot of fun. So the game is approachable if you're lucky enough, like I was, to have Andrew run the fire.
I felt like Joey running Nemesis.
Yeah, exactly. So there are some games where they're made considerably easier if someone else knows, or at least one person knows how to manipulate in this case, the fire for Nemesis, the bag development and stuff like that.
Aliens, yeah.
Yeah, it minimizes the rule set that the other players need to be aware of, and usually it's the person who owns the game that is most apt for running the fire, right?
Yeah.
So I don't like that. Overall, like, yeah, it's a great game, but that one particular part is such a pain.
Yes.
It's very much a pain.
Learning the fire at first, even going back to, I remember initially playing it and then now even going back to it. It took a few minutes. It took watching some Rodney Smith videos twice mm-hmm. of each style to like really try to remember how all this works. Yeah. And then when you're actually doing it, remembering in the moment how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
And definitely the first game we played, I think I did a lot of things wrong and we lost pretty quickly.
I think I was part of that. I remember I played that game and we lost pretty badly.
I don't know if I played
I played it. I remember playing it with the firemen and the fire.
Are you talking about the night that like me, you, Brian, Amanda, Michelle played it?
It's possible I played with you. It is possible that originally when I first got it, I played with you.
Yeah, I think so. It was like really early.
And we would have been playing probably the family mode at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess. I didn't even know there was different modes.
Yeah, which they really should clarify. When it says veteran mode, you would think initially it's like, oh, veteran to the game. It's like, it means veteran to board gaming. Because if you're a board gamer, the veteran mode's very digestible. It's pretty easy to understand if you play games. The family mode should be more clarified that it's for non-board gamers. Mm-hmm. So if you do pick up this game, don't even bother with the family mode unless you want to learn it to play with like non-gamer friends and family. But if you're going to play it with your board game group, just jump right into the veteran mode because it's
way more fun.
It's almost better. Yeah, it's more fun.
I'm a sucker for player power, so I'm glad that my first game was jumped right into the veteran mode.
Yeah, which actually might have actually been the first time I ever played veteran mode because I may have only played family mode a handful of times, thinking that veteran mode was going to be more difficult than it was. Mm-hmm. It's actually better. I actually prefer how some of the mechanics work in that aspect.
Yeah. Another. I mean, this isn't a complaint of this game. It's cooperative games in general. Decent amount of quarterbacking, but you're going to run into that with any game.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to like, agree on what the best course of action is. It's another thing when, there's a literal quarterback telling you,
yeah,
not literal. I use that the wrong way.
I always try, especially with new players.
Sorry.
You don't understand what I was thinking in that moment.
Your shame.
I was like Peyton Manning. It's like in the house, like he's retired now, right? He's got all the gear on and everything. And he's playing the board game.
What a commercial that would make for Flashpoint, though.
It kind of makes me want to get a football helmet to keep like in my boarding room. So if you start quarterbacking, we like shove the helmet on your head, and kind of a very aggressive public humiliation way of saying you're quarterbacking. Stop it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's blue 42. Roll the dice.
I mean, it's understandable. Sometimes people just can't help it. I've done it, I'm sure.
Yeah,
times,
and a lot of times when people quarterback, you got to remember it's because they want to help, right?
Yeah.
They want everyone to win, so they're just trying to be helpful.
Of course.
That's how people end up mansplaining.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to be helpful, and they're doing it in a very shitty way that kind of undermines everybody else.
It's funny you said mansplaining. I literally did that yesterday, so it's like, yeah, I can't complain, I guess.
But I definitely in games try to be very conscious of quarterbacking. Like I will tell you, I'll remind you some things about the game and what I think, but like I'll never like argue with someone and say, no, you shouldn't do that. That's stupid. Like if I say, I'll say like, this might be a good idea to do this. And if you say, well, I think I'm going to do this. And as long as it's not a complete bonehead move, and not because I think I have a better play, it's a bonehead move because maybe you're forgetting a rule that is why that's a really bad idea. I'll let it happen. So do you encounter that a lot in Nemesis, Joey, when you're, because you're basically the Nemesis dungeon master for Crawl.
Right. Well, Nemesis is meant to be like put you through pain. So like
Yeah.
if somebody's making a dumb decision, I'm just like, that's their decision. They can learn the hard way.
Joey's not a helicopter parent. He's very
But also with Nemesis, because of the hidden objective mechanic, maybe the suboptimal thing is actually part of their objective. So it's almost hard to
coach somebody on what to do.
Yeah, how would you even know?
Unless I'm not a playable character, in which case somebody can come up and talk to me. Sometimes I've done that where I'm just like operating as like kind of a ref dungeon master and not actually being a playable character, which allows me to like, look at somebody's objective and be like, well, because now I'm out of the game, I can't influence that, so I can just tell them how to play their objective maybe.
I had that situation on last Monday because I taught some people Blood Rage. And so, again, it's up to them, and I'm just reminding them how the game works and the rules and stuff. But I even said, I'm like, you could do this or this. And then I would say, but I don't know what you're trying to accomplish. So, you don't have to do what I'm telling you to do. Just based on what I'm looking at. These are options kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a skill set to doing that well.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's all I gotta say about Flashpoint. It's awesome. Go get it. It's freaking great. I think that company only makes Flashpoint stuff. I don't remember.
That's fine. I mean, I thought it was a great game. I would be interested in seeing what the expansions offer. I mean, it's probably something more like more roles, which I love player powers, but I think that game needs more roles. Maybe not.
If it's adding roles that complement the added mechanics, then yes.
Yeah.
Which I assume it would be.
If
there
there
was
was
like a spin-off one where you can be like police.
No, that's a terrible idea.
No.
You go into a house and you're supposed to shoot the civilians.
Oh my god!
Where's the panic button?
Yeah, panic button. No. But no, like, could you imagine an expansion for Flashpoint where it adds a second floor? Now you have multiple floors to worry about. But maybe you have like attached to your fire engine is a ladder, so you can quickly pop outside to the fire truck, and for a move, you pop up to the second story or something like that. Could be cool.
And like fire rises, so if it becomes fire on the bottom floor, it automatically becomes smoke on the second floor.
Yeah, it could be a really cool. I don't know what the expansions are, but like I'm just coming up with.
I'm just gonna keep playing with Michael and then convince him to rebuy the game, and then just let him buy all the expansions.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he does seem to love.
It's okay to trick your friends in the name of getting them to buy more board games.
So this is 2 board games now that Andrew's tricking his friends into buying.
I almost feel like I kind of did trick you into blowing the clock tower.
It fell off my radar, and then when you reminded me about it, I was like, I absolutely want that game. I did when I saw the Shut Up and Sit Down one, but it was still in fulfillment from Kickstarter, so I don't think their website was updated to be able to purchase it.
Yeah, because I had the idea, and Joey, maybe you should adopt this idea. A big game like that's a large player count. You get everyone to throw down a couple bucks in exchange for, it's like, hey, give me like $10 and then I'll buy the game. And that, if Blood in the Clock Tower goes like 16 players. So
Yeah.
if you could get 16 people, you could cover the cost and shipping probably. But even if you got 80 of your friends to throw down, right? That's a realistic number of friends to throw down. Then it cuts the cost down. They know that, you know, they're going to get to play a sweet game and they don't have to learn it. It's going to be a cool experience, and, you know, you'll take care of it and you'll hold on to it. And, you know, I mean, everyone's financial situation is different, but I feel like, you know, throwing your friend $10 for an activity to do down the road is not a bad deal at all.
And that's a one. Go ahead, Joey. Sorry.
I said I got a friend who wants me to buy what's it, Monster Death, Kingdom Death.
Oh
my
gee.
God.
Oh, he's like, you should buy it.
$500.
I'm like,
I'm surprised you don't already own it. Honestly,
I'm not that crazy.
But you would love that game. You know what? It's got a pretty
Probably.
dope crafting system. I don't know. I might be down
It's like
for that game.
$1,000 plus for everything.
For everything, yeah.
That's
do they
crazy.
make? We should make a crowdfunding backer website where that doesn't make sense. You'd have to be local. We should start a local group where when a Kickstarter comes out, instead of everyone backing it, it's like, hey, let's just split the cost kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like you register your. That doesn't make any sense either. Just get some friends.
Keeps it.
Well,
Yeah,
you
You
just
just leave it at the location, I guess.
yeah. You also have to rent an apartment on top of that.
Storage system.
But no, something like it wouldn't work for all games, obviously. Something like Blood in the Clock Tower, I think, would work for asking people to throw a couple bucks towards it
Yeah.
to graciously run it for them in the future.
And that's a one-time cost. Like if people end up loving it, return on investment. You spent $10, you got this game, and now you're playing it over and over again. If you really liked it, you know.
Yeah. And if you hate it, what's $10?
Yeah.
You probably already forgot about that point, and you're at the dinner party already, so
Yeah.
you're already eating and drinking. So who cares?
Yeah.
So all right. Oh man, we are killing it tonight.
We're crushing it.
So I had a little surprise. We'll just do a couple, and we can actually make this a reoccurring thing because it should be pretty easy. So and I was straightening up because we got another Calyx over there.
I moved out.
Ralph moved out. That bum finally moved out that was sleeping in here.
Damn homeless people.
I found this, which I think we pulled out the other day. Whoa. This is the worst case scenario survival game.
Ooh.
I think it's vintage, but it's kind of a dumb game. It's just going to give you like a survival problem, and then you have to guess multiple choice what the solution to that survival problem is.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be informative and fun. So I'm just going to read a couple cards to you guys, and we'll we can do this again at the end of another podcast. We can just end the podcast like this.
Okay.
So first, survival, which I should know this because I suffer from this a lot. How to treat heartburn.
Okay.
Do you A, elevate your upper body and chew gum if possible? B, assume the fetal position and take quick shallow breaths? Or C, eat bread and massage the abdomen gently to aid digestion?
I mean, I don't know the answer, but I know which one sounds more fun. I'm gonna eat bread and massage the abdomen. That sounds great.
What's your answer, Joey?
What was the first two again?
The first one was elevate your upper body and chew gum if possible. And B was assume the fetal position and take quick shallow breaths.
Rub the abdomen with bread. Heartburn.
Rub the abdomen with bread.
All right, you're going with C. You're both wrong.
Yeah,
It's A. It's A. You elevate your body and you chew gum if possible, which I never knew about the gum.
Damn.
And also, actually, I get heartburn so bad.
I was thinking about going to that direction. Okay, I was thinking about the bread thing, and I was like, that sounds a little weird. And they're like, you're going with C.
Nah, man, I love my bread.
I feel like it's more for nausea. I get a kind of heartburn that's so bad though. Like some people I know, they say, "Oh, when I lay down, it gets worse." Mine's just I'm either on fire or I'm
Trying
not.
to figure out what would reduce like the acidity. It was either the bread or it would be the
Pepto-Bismol.
gum, because the gum, gum is I don't know, it's got basic properties to it. So it
Yeah,
would-
yeah. Pepto-Bismol are ridiculous. It's freaking bismuth.
Yeah.
Somebody took a metal, figured out how to like store it in a liquid form, so you could pour it down into your fucking organs.
Somebody also took a metal in liquid form and figured out how to put just enough of it in a fucking tube to tell us the temperature.
True. All right. So all right. So do you want one that's more urban survival, or do you want like a real outdoorsy, like you're in the shit question?
I'm leaning towards, you said urban survival?
Like
I
something
want that.
you could more likely encounter.
Yeah. Like a drug
go
addict on the
outside
subway?
Yeah.
Like,
That'd
okay.
be something for me. Yeah.
All right. So the question is how to recognize a panic attack.
Oh.
A, the victim suffers from a lack of oxygen, cold sweats, and he or she turns a pale blue color. The victim experiences a rapid heart rate, chest pain, shortness of breath, and vertigo. Or C, the victim becomes aggressive, overly active, and combative.
B.
B.
You guys are right.
Yeah.
You guys know your panic attacks.
We know people who have panic attacks, I
I was,
guess.
I was about to ask, is that from people or because you have panic attacks?
Yeah, I mean, tomato.
Oh yeah, Joey. Of course, Joey knows that.
Yeah.
From work.
All right. Okay, let's move on to some ridiculous ones. How to maneuver on top of a moving train and get inside.
Oh, wow.
Do you A, bend slightly forward and travel to the end of the car by moving from side to side, then climb down the ladder? B, take short, quick steps to the side of the car, crawl along the edge until you see the ladder, then climb down it? Or C, lie down and scoot to the front of the car, then climb down the ladder?
I feel like C sounds
A or
right.
C. Yeah,
Yeah.
C sounds right to
It,
me.
it depends on how. Can you read A again one more time?
A is bend slightly forward and travel to the end of the car by moving from side to side, then climb down the ladder.
I mean, when it says bend forward, I'm kind of thinking like a hunched over sort of like
Like a Dead by
low
Daylight.
walk.
Crouch,
Yeah.
crouch walk. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm kind of torn. I mean, A would definitely be faster than C, but I think C would be more effective for the wind and any oncoming
Depends on how fast the
signage.
train is going. How fast is the train going?
Doesn't say. Let's assume train speed.
It's going like 10. It's going like 10 miles an hour. A would be for certain, but if it's going like
If it's going 10 miles an hour, I don't think you're stuck on the train at that
Yeah,
point.
is this like one of those long hauling trains, or is this like the Japanese bullet train? Like, what are we talking here?
Also,
Yeah.
also does not specify. Well, the bullet train, I would
makes a
think
big
there's
difference.
once it takes off, that's it. You're already off.
All right, how about this? We split it. You split it. Which one do you want, Joey? I'll take the other one.
I guess I'll go with A.
All right, I'll go with C.
Though.
The answer was A.
Nice.
All right.
I'm wondering why you wouldn't want to lay down. You know, like it sounds like it would be okay. Maybe not the most ideal.
Maybe because like if you're laying down, based off of what the answer is, if you're laying down, the train is not gentle. So if you're laying down, every bump of the car is maybe bouncing you around.
Yeah.
Versus you're stepping and you're kind of like you're minimizing getting bumped because you're changing direction as well.
Yeah.
And you're keeping yourself trying to like go straight, and then you're fighting getting pushed to one side or the other because you're darting side to side.
Okay. You mean I can't just like inchworm my way down the train?
Just pull your parachute.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'll help.
All right, let's do one more, then we'll end this.
All right.
We'll end this thing.
I like this. This is fun.
So you guys want how to survive when buried in an avalanche, or how to survive in the jungle?
Oh, avalanche. My winter upbringing, I think, has been not with avalanches.
Why would you take that for Florida people?
Well, we don't
I stand a better chance of
jungles
winning.
either.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like you're more
More of
likely
a jungle
to be.
down here. There's swamps. It's kind of close.
We can do the jungle. I'm fine with that.
No, we can do that.
I feel like you're
avalanche.
the average person's more likely to be caught in an avalanche because of ski resorts.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we got to give the viewers something useful as well. Okay, how to survive when buried in an avalanche? Do you A, dig a small hole? Oh, dig a small hole next to your face and spit in it. The saliva will fall down hills, so dig in the opposite direction. Do you B, lie still until the snow settles, then dig an igloo-style snow cave to stay warm until help arrives? Or C, dig in the direction of that the steam from your breath travels?
How the hell would you see it if you're fucking under?
Yeah, I think A is the better answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could feel it.
Yeah.
The answer is A.
Yep. I read a book once. I know it's a shocker. Where the girl in the story was caught in an avalanche, and I guess through just the traumatic nature of it, she ended up crying and realized the tears were running down her face, so she knew which.
So
which
crying
direction.
is useful.
Yeah.
Take it back, all you bullies that bullied Ralph.
Why you gotta bring it like that? Why you gotta do that? It's because I don't read.
No. But it is nice to watch a Pixar movie and just let it out sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe I can bring. I have a game that's similar to that called Writer Racist that I could bring.
Nope. Nope. Veto.
We can't do that.
Absolutely.
You can-
veto.
They're just facts.
You can bring
They're
it.
just facts, dude. What?
No, that's the game. It's like a bunch of facts, and you gotta see if it's correct.
Okay,
or if it's wrong.
I know what game you're talking about. Yeah, it is. It is.
Is it right or is
It's
it
like
racist?
the lens looking inward, where it is. It's giving facts and it's seeing if you're the racist for
Yeah,
thinking it's one of these things.
yeah, pretty much. It
I'll
tries
tell you
to-
what, you can bring it to a meetup, but we're not playing that on film.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about that? It would be cool. So I loved this little spin-off thing that we did with the cards. What could be cool, if Joey wants to bring his right or racist card, you can bring the worst case scenario. I'll bring like Star Wars Trivial Pursuit. We'll all just go through a card.
You don't have to. I have an identical copy here.
I mean, that's perfect, and I literally don't have to do anything. It's just here. Joey does all the work.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
have to
It
bring
could
mine.
be cool to like.
All right, you know what? We'll check out some of the Joey questions and see if it's like, is it distasteful
It's
or
like stuff like, in the 1989 census, there were,
I'd say, Joey.
75% of gay marriages ended in divorce or something like that. Is that right or is that racist? And then you pick, and then it might be right. It might be a right statistic that's like, whoa, I can't believe it's like that high or something like that.
okay. So it's a look at ourselves and society.
Right.
We'll still check it out at time, but yeah,
might have
we'll
to
start doing something
Sometimes-
at the end.
Sometimes it's like, that's racist, you racist fuck, and the card will be like, you racist fuck.
Yeah, so at least the game tries to distance itself from you.
And then the funny part is like there's like a little scoring system where if you get like a certain amount in a certain direction, it says you're like either like a conservative psychopath or like a liberal like woke person. It's like there's like a little scale.
It's like a little personality test kind of
Yeah.
mixed in. All right,
I like that.
The point is to get like half and half, so you kind of like in the middle, basically.
yeah, it's like, why do you know all these facts?
Yeah. Right.
So, all right, yeah, we'll do something like that at the end of each podcast. That was nice. That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so if you're in the South Florida area, we do monthly events every Monday night at Gulfstream Brewery in Fort Lauderdale, once a month at Flynn's Arcade in Margate. If you want to support the channel and crawl, head over to boardgamergifts.com. Got Save the Sea Turtles, Don't Sleep Games, ready to go. And all that goes to, I guess that supports the Sea Turtles. But while you're there, pick up another shirt, and that'll support us.
Yeah.
Because I don't pay these guys anything to
That's
come here on a weeknight.
Pays us by not beating us.
yeah.
It's joke. You get it out of this. Make sure I turn the mics off. Follow us on social media at Crawl Board Games. We're on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. TikTok's where all the action's at, but Instagram's a good one too. No one's really on Facebook anymore. I swear. I went on there to check something and no one cares.
That's all right. So, Andrew, have you told the audience what you're doing next weekend?
No, I was about to get to that.
Good. Sorry.
If you are going to Florida SuperCon, which is our largest comic convention in South Florida, Crawl Board Games has the honor of hosting board games for the duration of the convention. So,
Hell yeah.
I don't know exactly where we're going to be, but if you see the tabletop game area, it's us. So, stop by, say hi, play some games. It's going to be a good weekend. It's going to be a long weekend, but it's going to be a good weekend.
Andrew's going to be there the whole time. Joey's going to be there on Friday. I'm going to be there on Saturday.
Yep.
And, well, I'm going to be a patron on Sunday, but I'll be there. I'll swing by,
Yeah.
say hey, play a game. Force you to teach me a game. I'll pick the most hard game I could find and just
It's like when you're like the employee at a restaurant and you go in as a
You want to
customer.
bring Etherfields?
I'll slip it into one of the
game.
bins.
Oh, and then
and,
I have to teach you the
yeah.
fields? Oh, geez.
I'll slip it into one of your bins. Just the
yeah.
hardest.
These feels right there. Fresh in the shrink ray. But yeah, I think that's everything. So tune in next Thursday. Well, next Thursday because SuperCon, we might skip another week, but consider subscribing.
Probably wasn't gonna be able to because
Hey, your birthday's coming up.
Friday. Well, it's just that like it's in the morning, right? So I have to get up early and
Yeah.
drive. So
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't want to also do a show and then like, oh shit, I gotta get home and go to sleep. And
All good. Fair. I'm probably going to be like packing and running around like a madman trying to get everything ready for the next morning.
Yeah.
But in that case, consider subscribing and putting on your notification bell so you can see when we schedule. I try to schedule ahead of time when we're going to be live. So, and your support is greatly appreciated. But yeah, we will see you next time.
So will ya?